I gave you a copy of our road improvement special assessment policy. We've had this in place since 2019, and then we made an update in 2021. Just a little bit of history here. So I want to say it was about 17, 18, 19, that time period. We did a road inventory. We inventoried all the paved roads, ranked them 1 to 5. Off the top, I was trying to look this up today and I didn't get a chance to do it. Which one was worse? 1s were bad or 5s were good, or what it was?
I think the 5s were bad.
And so then we've kind of just started discussions about, well, how do we make these improvements? And prior to 2019, we did not do major road improvements on anything other than municipal state aids. In the 10 years that I had been here, we hadn't done anything like that.
Unless it was in conjunction with water or sewer.
Yeah, unless it was with water or sewer, or it was municipal state aid. And my sense was, even when we were doing municipal state aids, we were waiting to do something until it like needed total reconstruction. So we said, well, we can't sustain this, and so how do we make those improvements? And so we started talking about a road improvement plan. That was also at the time we started with a financial management plan. It's like, how could we possibly fund this? So that's when we created the special assessment policy. And originally we set it at $97.50, and that was based upon a study that we had done from a firm out of the Twin Cities. And it was not an appraisal, but it was like, what could you expect the increase in the property value of a house based upon new roads? And it gave some ranges, you know. So that's where we were at, $97.50. So in 2020, we did our first road improvement. We did Alexander, Carlson, Portland, Johnson, and then Hermantown Road between Okerstrom and Stillman.
Wayne, you set somebody up to do that?
He has
It always happens about 3 minutes.
It does, I know, I think you got me,
he's programmed.
yeah.
Not me.
Anyway, so we also did what I affectionately used to call the Richard Lindgren project. That was the Hermantown Marketplace streets. In 21, we did Sunby and Swan Lake and Levesque Junction. 22, we didn't have any projects. In 23, we did Uggstead Road from Highway 53 to Maple Grove, and just that little bit of extension on Arrowhead Road in front of the schools. Then 24, we did the Hermantown Road from Uggstead to Highway 2, and then we included that old Midway stretch as well. There's been talk about surprise special assessments. I don't know, I take a little bit of offense at that, or umbrage with that, in so much as that the process that we would have is we would have, you would do the preliminary engineering report, and then we would have neighborhood meetings with the affected property owners before we would do the public hearing. The first public hearing where you would order the project. And that would be usually in the spring of the year for the construction that's going to happen the next year, and the assessments would be finalized in the fall of the next year. So a full 18 months before there would be the hearing on the assessments. But they were told at those preliminary meetings, that first meeting, is that it would include an assessment of $97.50. So to say that it was a surprise assessment, I think I would argue.
And remind me the notification of those. Obviously, it's everybody affected on that stretch, right?
Yeah, and typically how we're assessed is if you have frontage on the road that's being improved, you're assessed and you are notified with a written letter, and then the public hearing would be published in the newspaper, and then during the construction period we would invite the residents, hey, the construction meeting is gonna be on this date.
If you remember in some of the hearings we had on the Hermantown Road, people talked about not knowing, and we said, well, you were sent a letter, and some of the folks said, well, I get something from the city of Hermantown, I just, yeah.
That's not my fault.
Right, right.
If you're not paying attention, it's not my fault, it's a surprise.
Right, but I'm just, I mean, that happens, and I don't know what else there is,
Yeah.
other method.
Didn't you hand deliver some mail?
Over the span of the 5 years?
Yeah.
On at least 2 of the road projects, we hand delivered, to be sure. And then there's not only the one at the front, there's communication before the project starts beyond just that initial letter. There's meetings during each project, and then there's more letters.
Yeah,
So,
you have that flow chart
yeah,
every day.
which
Maybe
we
we're
still
fine.
use in each one.
Maybe we're finding that the newspaper isn't as good of a tool as it used to be to communicate this sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe. That's the nature and change of newspapers. But it's also the legal requirement that in public hearing notice, you have to publish it in a newspaper. So again, property owners were sent a letter.
Multiple letters.
Yes. And Facebook, we'd have on Facebook, we'd have,
Website,
yeah, different options. So Kevin and I, mostly Kevin, spent some time looking at kind of the numbers since we've started this. And just kind of doing this in kind of the aggregate. Over those 4 years of projects, 20, 21, 23, and 24, we assessed just over $3 million. And that includes the fact that Hermantown Road assessment has been cut in half, so we took half of it off already. If we would have not assessed and just put it on the tax rolls, it would have been, our tax rate would be 4% higher than it currently is. We just would have added that to that.
John, do you have
The
the
tax
total
rate.
number of costs for those projects? What portion that 3 million was of a total?
I don't have that off the top of my head. We could do that. Generally, when we look at individual projects, that 3 million was coming in about the 25% mark.
What is our current tax rate? 2 point something?
The tax rate?
Yeah. I was gonna-
Tax rate is like 0.452 or something like that. If you look it up in the, it's in
But
the
that's
budget
not
book.
So our tax rate would have gone from sub 1 to 4.452. Did I hear that right?
It's at 452 now,
Yeah,
and it would be at 49.
yeah.
That's a big jump.
Well,
0.5%, almost.
no, it's a 4%.
4%, not a point.
It's at 0.45.
Okay.
It would be at 4.9.
Oh,
I think.
sure.
No,
No,
0.49.
0.49.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's a 4% increase in taxes.
It's a 4% increase to the current tax rate, not a
Yeah.
4% overall.
Yeah.
Okay.
The current tax rate.
I'm
Current tax.
picking
The
up what you're
city's
putting down
tax
now.
rate. If you would going forward, $1 million in assessments is gonna be between 1% and 2% increase in the taxes. So if we're gonna assess $1 million, and that's what we've done for the last 2 projects, it was almost $1 million for Hermantown Road, and like I said, it was in the 900,000. It was almost $1 million. So it's between 1% and 2% of the tax increase. I'm hoping I'm saying that right.
Yep.
So, because one of the questions was, is like, well, why don't you just put it on the taxes? And the idea of assessments, whether it's a road one or a sewer one or water one, is that the people that benefit should pay. And then you have to be able to show that there is a benefit in terms of the valuation of their properties. And so there is that process. And that's the idea, was that we do the assessments because they are getting a special benefit because it's their road that they travel on. And certainly other people do as well, but they're the primary users of that road.
And that's not unique to us, that's a state law.
Yeah, that's a
Allows
state
that
law.
to be-
And we, originally based upon that study, said that range was about $9,000. And so that was that we used. Now, we didn't do, before and after appraisals for all of those. So, and that's what the courts are gonna rely on, it would be an appraisal.
And John, it wasn't actually, it wasn't in that range, it was all numbers above whatever we assessed. So then at 9,750, and then when we made the change to 9,400, it was because those were,
Yeah. 'Cause
the
then-
benefit to the properties was always higher than the amount. So we were always higher than the study. Sorry, we were always lower than the study. We were always, the
market-
study was always higher.
And in the marketplace, we did commercial assessments at a higher rate, like $25,000.
Oh, I remember.
And that's what we're proposing on Lightning Drive too, for the commercial properties. We have 3 residential properties that we were doing at 9,750, at least in terms of the plan right now, and the commercial ones was 25,000.
And that's obviously been conveyed to them?
Yes,
Yeah.
over a year ago.
Yeah.
I don't want to break any rules. Can we talk about the Stedman Road project, or are we just talking about road assessments?
Well, you can talk about any of them.
The residential ones on this project feel wrong to me. Or not Stedman Road, sorry, the Lightning Drive project. Because we're not doing it at all for the benefit of them. We're doing it to have better access to the commercial district that they're attached to.
Yeah, but Getchell Road, where they live, will be a paved road versus a gravel road with curb, gutter, and sidewalk. So there is a special benefit for them. Are we doing it for them?
Would we be doing the project at all if it didn't connect to Lightning Drive?
It's exactly what John said. The value of their property is $100,000 beforehand. When you do that, even though they may not have liked it, they may not even want it, but the value increases by, now it's $110,000. That's the special benefit, is that delta.
Yeah,
And
they
to
also get
me-
to pay more taxes on it
And
too.
to me, that's clear when it goes to gravel, to curb, gutter, and sidewalk. When it's a beat-up road versus a new road, it's a little bit fuzzier to me.
Yeah. And in each of those cases, it was a beat-up road and new roads. We didn't put curb and gutter and sidewalk on any of the Johnson, Carlson,
No.
They didn't have that before, we didn't put that in there. They didn't have it on Hermantown Road, we didn't put that in
The
there.
little stretch of Okerstrom too is kind of a exception in there too, because they got a new road and didn't
Yeah.
pay for it.
In that case, we were putting a water main and we replaced the road on top of it.
Right.
We were doing that for,
That was only for paid acres too, right?
I'm trying to remember the water and sewer. We put the sewer in there to take that lift station.
That was upgrade for the system.
Yes, that's what it was. It was sewer, and we put water in there as well. But we got rid of that lift station. So the people on, the subdivision is called Bishop Woods, Oak Ridge Drive, were serviced by a lift station.
At the end of the,
At
and
the
then
end.
pumped it back
And it
up.
pumped back up, and now it just
It
flows
just
into the
flows down through Okerstrom to the
trunk line.
trunk line.
It is a policy question, it's a tool that you can use, and you've got to follow some rules regarding it, but there are some rules, and I know we've had this discussion before, and you hear it all the time from residents, is why don't my taxes pay for it? Well,
We could do that.
right, absolutely. And for each of the 5 projects we've had, we've put that on part on the taxes as well.
Well, we're reaching the point where we've gotten the worst of our problem roads taken care of.
Yeah, the only really bad one that remaining is Lightning Drive, but yeah, you're right.
But, and I'm only thinking of residential roads. I just have a hard time, and I have since we started it, is assessing for a road that's a through road that travel from outside the area comes in and goes through. Arrowhead Road, Uggstead Road, roads like that that are through roads. I don't have any problem with assessment for a neighborhood road, but I think we need to do more in working with the neighborhood's involvement and get their consent to build the road. Do you want this road or not? And then if you don't want it, we won't do it. I think we need to turn a corner in how we approach the public on this. And like I said, we've gotten the worst ones done, but we're looking at the Stebner Road coming up. We're looking at assessing them to make their road better usable and increase more traffic, and we want to call that a special benefit. And some people wouldn't look at it as a special benefit. They'd look at it as a special deficit, especially when the Blatnick Bridge is going to be closed around the same time, and we're going to have increased traffic on that road no matter what. That is a through road. It's a city highway. If we, and you said that our assessments are about 25% of our costs. Well, that would mean that if we change things, that we would be doing our road projects of 4 years in 5 years. I don't see anything wrong with extending that stuff out and drawing things out another year. I think that the special benefit for through roads is really hard to quantify. And I would include roads like Ketchel Road north of Maple Grove, because all the traffic that goes by their house is going to be headed to the industrial park, right to Lightning Drive. So we want to charge them for increasing their traffic.
And increasing their taxes.
Well, that's up to the assessor, but.
If you listen to our argument for it, it would increase their
Right.
taxes.
But I don't like that idea. It's not a pure residential. Now, if a pure residential area comes in and said, we need our road done, or we see that the road needs to be done, we can approach them and say, what do you want? Now, if they want curb and gutter and sidewalk and streetlights, and all they have is ditch and culverts now, that needs some type of assessment for the upgraded improvement.
Well, and one of the things that we've talked about, and I can't tell you the plan off the top of my head, but we've talked about, for instance, Getchell off of Arrowhead. It's not Getchell, it's,
Yeah, it is.
it? Okay, it's Getchell, and then there's a couple of different neighborhoods off of
Werribee,
it.
and
Yeah,
there's-
and it connects with Timber Trail, so clearly some of that is, and it's like Timber Trails, curb gutter and sidewalk, but then it ends at Getchell, the old part. And we've talked about, like, if we were gonna upgrade that we should, if we're gonna redo that road, we should put curb gutter and sidewalk in. We talked about that in terms of the Oak Ridge Drive neighborhood, Bishop Woods, is that on one side of Stebner, you have, is it Greystone? Greystone with curb gutter and sidewalk, because it's a newer subdivision, and then you get on the other side and it's not. And then Bishop Woods, Oak Ridge Drive there, that's all gonna connect to Peyton Acres. Curb gutter and sidewalk. So again, when we get to that street, we've talked about, we should upgrade that to curb gutter and sidewalk. And with the hope at some point in time is that, that there might be then a connector into,
Northwoods.
to the trail, Northwood property into the trail. So, so one is, do you want to consider thorough streets differently? Two is, do you want to consider something different when you go from replacing what's there as opposed to
Complete improvement.
complete improvement?
I think if we're doing something like a complete improvement, curb gutter and sidewalk, we need to involve that neighborhood to make sure that that's what they want. It should be there. We'd all love it to be there. But I think we're getting to the era of imposing that on people, and I don't like that.
Well, government does, by definition, one of the things government does is provide a public good. And the public good is something we all want, but nobody wants to pay for.
But we can rebuild it to what it is right now, instead of putting in the extra stuff.
My guess is that's what most people would want, that's what most people would opt for.
Is the
Put it-
improvement.
Put it back the way it was.
And you know what? That's,
That's what we did on,
Except-
well, we didn't do it, but you guys did it on the Lake Junction. I mean, you
Yeah.
listened to their feedback and didn't put sidewalk in there.
Except in Oak Ridge, I think that one makes sense because of the
The
connection.
connection.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I would suggest that, that one Getchell North out of Timber Trails makes sense too, because again, you're connecting
Yeah.
Timber Trails with Arrowhead, curb, gutter, and sidewalk.
I struggle, Wayne, along your train of thought with the neighborhoods that only have access off of the road we're doing. Let's take Uggstead Road, for example. You cannot get to Jackson Estates without traveling on Uggstead Road. Those people should be assessed with the people that live on Uggstead Road. Payden Acres. You cannot get to Payden Acres without driving on Stedman Road.
And
sure.
toll booths.
Isn't it essentially their street too?
Well, yeah, and like, how do you then,
I mean, I think that's more of an argument for not having road assessments, but
I'm with you on that.
so a couple things, is that if you want to just get rid of assessments, we can do that. It's just then that everybody's gonna pay more if you want to continue to do it. Or you're gonna have to delay your roads and stretch them out, or not do them again.
I think that on the through roads, if we slowed it down and extended it out, but I think that for the neighborhoods, there needs some type of graduated approach based on what the improvement is. And what we do now is, we have an engineer come up with a plan and we tell the people, here's your plan. But there isn't a couple of years of input that goes into making that plan. I'm just saying, I wish there was more residential input in. Then there may be more residential acceptance for the assessment, whatever level it is. But maybe we can come up with something that if we convert it to curb, gutter, and sidewalk, that the assessment be this level. And if we just keep it as it is, we keep it at, say, under 10% of cost, where we've been going to 22 to 25% of cost. I think we need to try and individualize it a little more.
Yeah, and I think, initially when we sold it, we told everybody, it's like, we're embarking on a 5-year plan, and we're gonna have the assessment the same for everybody, so that everybody's paying, so, because, and then there's always this, already you have this issue with, well, they live on Maple Grove Road, they don't get assessed when the county does it, but I live on a city street, I have to. We talked about the possibility of making improvements in conjunction with the county on,
Lindahl?
yeah, Lindahl, north of Highway 53. From Highway 53 to the city limits, it's a city street. From north of the city limits, it's a county road. And so,
It's less than a quarter mile.
yeah. And ultimately, we just kind of punted on it, we're not doing anything.
Well, I think that maybe it's time to scale back on the volume of what we're doing too.
Yeah,
Can I make an argument for road assessments?
certainly.
It's the only tax you don't have to pay if you truly can't afford it.
You can defer it. It's still on the land.
It has to be paid at some point.
Yeah, you pay at the sale. You pay at the sale of your home. But there's 3 requirements, right? It's income, military and disability, and age.
And the the metric requirements, but then, yeah, anybody can come in and visit their case with the council, and the council has 100% latitude to defer anybody.
Yeah.
So to your point, because you and I have talked about it, it does not have to come out of an individual's pocket until the sale where the value would be realized anyway.
And it's-
Should they?
it's
Comes in
their,
availability.
interest is accruing
By
during
default,
that
with
whole
interest.
time, right?
Yeah, the interest, there's kind of a two-part, you could pay just the interest, or you can have the interest,
Just compile.
yeah.
I do want to, one thing that the mayor said, and I'm only bringing this up because David's not in the room, so I defended the engineer for a second.
Which is usually.
We appreciate it.
Which is usually not your
So I was
role.
gonna say, this is a big moment for me.
I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
But I stand next to David when we do these copious meetings and a lot of the communications in front, and I can tell you with 100% certainty, 100% of our roads that we've done have been shaped by feedback of the residents. There've been meaningful changes throughout.
But what I'm
Just as an
saying is,
example.
I see us getting into changing the scope of a road project from culverts and ditches to curb gutter and sidewalk. And there should be a difference there.
Yeah, and then the second piece is just a casual reminder of people who love taxes. The county's choice to not, the county's policy to not do assessments is part why they are the heaviest leg on our tax stool in Hermantown, above the city and above the school, because they're winning it on a volume base, because our county is so large that everybody pays for.
And they have a dedicated sales tax for roads.
4% sales tax.
Yeah, so those two pieces are why they're able to be different than these types of decisions.
I mean, and our funding sources really are limited to
Property taxes and MSA.
property taxes and MSA, and certain roads don't qualify for MSA. And what we've been able to do is stretch out our MSA by having assessments on MSA projects, so then we can use that MSA for other projects as well. Because we only get so much MSA per year.
In other matters or other times, we can work on MSA and let's try and get more roads. Let's give some of our roads to the county.
County.
Yeah, that quarter-mile Lindall anyways. We did swap some roads with the county a while back, didn't we?
Yeah, and there's,
Somebody else one night.
We got the road.
there's been some ongoing, there's been some other discussions about that in the future as well. I don't remember the details, it was Swan Lake.
Swan Lake, so, you know, ancient history is a
Sunbeam.
thing that happened before I got hired. So that was an ancient history. It could have been 2018 where that trade happened, because it came up a lot on the road project that we did out there. And then there's always, I mean, there's endless conversations with the county, and it's kind of driven by them on what trading or different things look like. But yeah, that Lindall piece is unique, because it's a us road right up till it's a them road. But
And you can't just designate all your roads MSA roads, they gotta meet certain criteria, and the state's only gonna allow so much.
And we only get so much miles.
Yeah.
yeah, there's a mileage piece.
And part of Stebner there was MSA funding in Stebner?
All-
Yes. On Stebner and Dougstead.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, but, yeah, I know there was on Eichstätt, but it's being proposed that we would use MSA on Stebner.
Yes.
Looking forward, yes.
Yeah. One thing I don't necessarily like, and I know we did it on Uckstead, and is the piecemeal of this curb's bad, we're gonna replace it, this curb's not. I don't know, that's called kicking the can forward to me, and I think we should, I know Stedner's planned that way too, but I guess, like the mayor says, let's have some choices. A full replacement versus piecemeal, you know, because I ride my bike down there, and some of the old stuff looks pretty bad. It's
Yeah.
like, why didn't that get replaced? I mean,
I think David had an explanation that you could only replace a certain percentage.
There was some criteria because of, in that particular one, we had some federal dollars, is that you could only replace a certain percentage of the curb and gutter. But then also, it kept more, within the last several years, is if you're replacing sidewalks, they've got to meet new ADA requirements, and they have to be 5 feet instead of 4 feet. So you would make an argument, Maple Grove Road had a perfectly good sidewalk. St. Louis County took it all out because they needed a 5 foot instead of 4 foot.
and we should probably do the same on Stedner then. I don't know what the plan
Yeah, I
is.
don't know.
Yeah, and this was a good part of our public discussion the other day, because there's, definitely the plan is not all
Yeah.
curb and gutter needs to be replaced, but all of the sidewalk is 4 foot and needs to be 5 foot, which is popular among people for access and unpopular depending on how your yard works on the sidewalk right in front of you that is now
Trees and-
closer to you.
yeah.
Yep.
We probably couldn't use MSA unless we did that.
True, you cannot use the MSA dollars at all unless you meet the MSA requirements on the sidewalks.
Just cut back a little bit on how much we do.
You gonna end up right where we were before?
No, where we were before was because nobody did anything.
How does it affect our ability to bond for other projects if we're bonding for more on these road projects? We have to grow our,
But most of our bonds have been for non-road projects as far as dollar volume because of the wellness center,
The big ones,
hockey,
yeah.
yeah. So we have plenty of room to issue bonds, general obligation bonds for roads. We're not anywhere near, although we have a high amount of debt in total, but we have plenty to issue under the roads or general levy.
Our debt per capita is high.
Yeah.
But theoretically, the state says we could have more.
Right. Exactly.
But that's, we always, when we do the bond rating, that's the thing that we get
Is
criticized.
that like paying your Visa with your MasterCard?
But we get criticized for our high debt ratio. We get good points for it being in a strong financial position,
Right.
who criticizes us for
the bond rating companies.
When Ellers
Standard
comes,
and Poor's.
I thought you were gonna say the state. I was gonna make a joke about the fact that we don't get any LGA, so. they can
no,
criticize us.
well, Todd Hagan says that all the time.
Yeah,
He comes
and it's Standard and Poor's is who does the rating.
Yeah.
And we like to joke is that Hermantown is a AA in our bond rating, just not hockey.
Part of what we do with assessments involves availability later on.
We don't for roads.
No, but I don't want to see us charging availability unless city funds have been used to pay for the improvement. We've got developers that put in projects and there's empty lots. We don't charge that person an availability. If somebody came in and paid for running sewer and water, I don't think it's right to charge availabilities to the residents when it's paid for by other sources.
That's not happening with utility charges, so now, right? I mean, they have to pay their hookup fees, but
Just
not.
the hookup
Yeah,
fees,
but not the availability.
And the availability was put there to be in lieu of an assessment.
Right.
Then it's because we spent money and we couldn't assess somebody right away or a lot was
Right.
split.
I mean, yeah, these lot splits or flag lots are
Right.
an example of.
Well, I mean, and availability, a little off topic here, but availabilities were because it was what I call the Johnny-come-latelys. We assessed this property and then now somebody else was like, they created a separate lot. It's like, well, there's value to that sewer, we shouldn't just give the value away. So we created the
But
availability fee.
in those cases, city funds were used, were borrowed to do that. If a developer or a contractor does it, I don't think we should be charging availability.
Yeah, that.
And we're not.
Yeah.
Like, to be
Right,
clear.
right.
Not only do we agree with you, we're not doing it.
That's what I was,
We're not about
yes.
that.
Just,
That's what that's what I just, I agree, and I was glad to hear that we haven't been.
What do you want to do?
Well, and Stebner is sooner than later. I mean, that's gonna set the standard.
Well, I mean, right now, we're proposing.
Assessment.
Well,
Lightning drive.
Lightning
Well,
Drive is
Lightning
even
Drive.
is ahead of that.
Yeah,
but we're talking residential versus commercial too. I think.
And I'm assuming we're moving ahead with Lightning Drive the way we had originally planned, unless you tell me differently. what did we figure the total assessments on the Lightning Drive project was just under $500,000.
Well,
I don't have a problem with the commercial assessments, it's the 3 residential ones. Because they're gonna have a highway running by their houses into the industrial park. A lot of it was city traffic. And on the Stebner, I know we can cover it all with MSA.
I'm just trying to think, cities, non-MSA streets that we're thinking about in the next 5 years. We've talked about the Getchell, Jonah, that neighborhood.
We've
We've
got
talked about-
Uggstead from Morris Thomas South.
Yes, Uggstead, Morristown South is not an MSA road, and that's in bad condition.
Hermantown is not real
That was
good
gonna hurt.
from Uggstead to Levake.
Yeah,
That's, Brian had talked about that.
We talked about that when we were doing Hermantown, and I was told it was fine.
it was
He's
fine.
not, he's not here to defend his
It was fine,
opinion.
it was fine enough.
But that's also a spendy section because of the bedrock in there.
I said my piece.
So on the Lightning Drive, do you propose that we would not assess those 3 residents?
I would.
I mean, does the increased traffic actually decrease their value? I mean,
No.
you don't think so?
My first question would be, where is that? And the idea that new traffic would be coming in is because new business happens and it generates new business. So you think of all the traffic that's using that road today, just to talk about traffic. Right? So now you magically wave a wand tomorrow and it is a nicer road. Nicer roads aren't really what's going to cause traffic. There has to be a reason to use the nice road, and none of those reasons have changed immediately. And if those reasons were to change, right, a new business comes in, then I don't think that's hurting anybody's value. I think it's, you've got
And
the
up by the-
likelihood of 2 increases, the improved road and the.
I want to say it was
Seizure property.
14, 15, 16, somewhere in there, we redid Stebner Road, and that's when we, Getchell was or Lightning Drive was a dead end.
Yeah.
And we connected Getchell, because of the work on Stebner. And I don't remember the year of that, I want to say it was,
If we do Stebner
About 10
again, Getchell will have more traffic again.
What about Stebner Road? Big, no assessments through the street?
It's a highway.
Yeah.
As somebody who is going to eventually live on Stedner Road, I would have no problem paying a little more for it. Just being honest. I'd do that in my neighborhood I live in now. I'd be like, if you repave the roads, I would pay a little more for that because they're 20 years old and getting rough.
I was gonna say, I drove my bike through there too, and I was surprised at the condition of the road.
Some of them are getting rough. Now, do they need a full curb and gutter, stormwater, sidewalks, street lights? No, they just need to redo what's there, keep the cost down. I mean, again, you can ask the neighbors about that, but I mean, I've paid on the Loberg Street Assessment Project. I paid on the Richard Avenue Street Assessment Project. I paid on the Alexander Road Street Assessment Project, and I'll gladly pay on the Stebner one. What that number is, we can talk about.
And that might be an answer.
You know what I mean?
well, and one of
But
the
as somebody
things,
who uses it every day rather than the occasionally, and don't get me wrong, there's lots of people that leave Sears, for example, and rip down to West Duluth. And they go through there for 90 minutes a day, you know, in the morning coming in and at night. But as somebody who drives on that road multiple times every single day, that road needs it, and I would be willing to pay a little more for that. That's just me. The people that bought the house I sold on Alexander Road loved the fact it was on a new road in a quiet neighborhood. They loved it. The road wasn't a couple years old when I sold that house. I believe in my mind, in my heart, that the value of that home was increased because of the new road in front of it.
What about 2 different assessment amounts, one for through roads, one for neighborhood?
Well, I think thresholds might be, you know, maybe the sentiment we have with people on Hermantown Hermantown Road gives us some guidance
Yeah, for through roads.
for through roads, but I don't like
The
it.
speed limit's only 30 miles an hour there, so arguably it's not a through road.
It's not a dead end. It's not a cul-de-sac.
Well, you know, and, yeah. You can look at the map and you can, it wouldn't be hard to mark on the map like, these are through roads, these aren't. Even though Johnson, Carlson, Alexander arguably are all through roads.
Arguably, but
Yeah.
the percentage of cars
Yeah.
are very slim. It's a neighborhood.
Neighborhood.
I would consider that a
I've driven
neighborhood.
over there a lot. I've never once even considered cutting through that neighborhood.
Right, I don't either. You know.
You don't until there's a backup at Stemner.
Until someone's
At
building a
Mor-
neighborhood.
at
and
Morris
shuts it all
Thomas.
down, Yeah.
Yeah, or Morris Thomas and Haynes is under construction.
Yeah.
Or there's a parade.
What about lowering the percentage, the interest from 4 to nothing? 1%.
Well, then the city carries that.
The reasoning for the percentage had nothing to do with the cost of money. It is to cover the city's employee cost, is what it says.
Cost of money plus.
Plus of those other things. But like the engineering costs go into the cost of the project. The employee
It
side is,
Administrative
the
costs.
It does say
Yeah,
interest
yeah.
payments in here. I take that.
administrative cost is probably pretty good.
Yeah, I found it, John. It does say interest payments.
I was gonna say,
It says bond administration and principal interest.
we often will talk about, it's like, okay, we have, when we do the preliminary engineering report, 5% administrative cost, but rarely do we charge that.
Right, right,
We charge our outside costs.
right. But you don't
Engineer.
figure your guys' time.
We're not tracking our time
Right.
and charging that to the project.
Right.
If we have, the biggest thing is like advertising expenses or,
Yeah.
some of those kind of things, we charge that.
Yeah, engineering.
We do not charge staff time to projects. Usually we put that in there on the preliminary engineering estimate is to give it a little more cushion.
Yeah,
And we don't, when we ultimately do a project reconciliation at the end, we don't add up staff costs.
I kind of like either the through roads have no assessment or they have less of an assessment than the others. But what that is, I mean, maybe our policy is that we get an appraisal.
Well, one of the things that I thought is like, what you could do is like, so, and just using Stebner Road as an example, is go out and get 4 appraisals. I mean, there's 100 projects, but you go out and get a set number. And then when the project's done, you have the appraiser reappraise it and see what they say. You can do a before and after.
Yeah, but you got to give the people
You're
a
setting
number.
People have to know
yourself
what
up
the
to
number
get
is
sued.
going into
It's
it.
9750, and then but it will be lower after that. It won't be more than 9750. I don't know how else you do before and after appraisal and
No.
base the assessment. If you want to base an assessment on before and after appraisal, that's the only way you're going to do it. Is you're going to
Who was
say,
the firm
you
that we
scare them
hired?
and say it's 9,400, and it's like, oh, never mind, it's only 9,400.
Who
or
was the
$94.
firm we hired when we did Johnson, Portland, Alexander? Because they had a pretty good appraisal based on,
It wasn't,
it wasn't the same method that Sandy Hoffman.
no,
used.
it wasn't an appraisal though, but it was a study,
Okay,
but it was not an
it was
appraisal.
not appraisal.
No.
If we do it, again, I mean, the appraisals, that's really the crux of all this fight. Trying to figure out that special benefit. It's really, really complicated. Hermantown's not the only place that's struggled with this. If you're gonna continue with the assessments, we'd want to go outside of the city, probably go down to the Twin Cities and get somebody that does this a little bit more specialty than what we did before, and to hold up if we were challenged.
And that firm was out of the Twin Cities.
Yes,
I recall.
the first one was.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of them.
But I don't know if that would have been any better than the one Sandy Hoff did.
Well, and I also understand having a number that holds up if you're challenged. But that doesn't mean that number's right in the long run either.
All it means is special benefit.
Right.
That's all it means. It doesn't, all the things you've talked about where I may get a special benefit, but I like the road less because you cut down my trees and there's more traffic, they're going faster. I like the old road, it was narrow. I mean, all that stuff is true.
Right, but what I'm saying is we don't have to try and recover the entirety of the special benefit.
No, you can't, and you can't charge more than the special benefit.
No, but we don't have to cover all of it just because we can.
No, the remainder of taxpayers can.
Yeah.
Right, everybody shares that.
More than they already are, because everybody's
Correct.
already sharing
Correct.
75+%, give or take. I mean, what you really can't do is make roads cost less. That would be the best answer in today's day and age.
We tried that as a township.
Yeah.
Grade.
What happens is what you see in Duluth though, is that over time, even though you say, well, we'll do 4 roads, we'll do it over 5 years instead of 4. Over time, what happens is it comes out of a different pot. It's hard to spend money out of the general fund pot. It is hard to do that because people complain that their taxes are going up. So you look to cut somewhere, you defer the maintenance. And I can see in Duluth where some roads are okay, but you get in like the little back residential roads where people, and they're horrible, and they're not gonna get fixed in the next 10 years or 20 years. They can't, they're not gonna do it. It's not, the system is screwed up to finance those roads.
Because the general taxpayer doesn't want to spend money fixing some back road that serves 4 people.
Yep.
But even Duluth has the 0.5%, don't they?
Duluth, but they're still not doing,
They don't have, yeah.
they're not doing those roads, and I can tell you some that I see, and I'm
I
like,
traveled up Springvale from Piedmont up to Piedmont Heights there the other day, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a through road. I mean, it gets to hundreds of houses, and it's terrible.
and that's where Duluth went south, is they were using the casino money for years and years. That went away, so they just stopped. They froze up. They didn't know what to do, so they stopped fixing roads, and then it was okay for a couple of years, but the roads continued to go downhill, and then they had a bunch of bad roads, and people were screaming all the time. I mean, you guys have done a really good job. You have good roads, relatively.
Better roads.
At least people aren't painting on them now anymore. How bad they are.
But, yeah, like I say, Jackson Estates is gonna need it. That other development north of west of the school, I think it's Jamie Drive, and those roads, I've been in there lately, those are bad.
I mean, you ignore them at your own risk. The longer you, and we've also in the last 5 years tried to work into our budget so that we're spending money on maintenance issues before we get to having to plow it up and dig it up. So we've been doing some crack sealing and chip seal, and
Part of what we've been playing catch up on has been the roads being ignored as a township in an early city. We have to catch up, but I think we've reached a point where we are caught up a lot better than I expected us to be.
Yeah, the big junction was, that was horrible, if everybody remembers that, from the roughness and the hill, and,
yeah, Hermantown Road was bad.
yeah.
Alexander was bad.
Well, I think of pulling off of Haynes onto Portland there were rocks, like pavement piles.
Kept the traffic down.
Well, we got a couple of them. The immediate ones are what, to me, what are we gonna do?
Right, or you'll be having the same conversation in another 5 or 7 years.
Well, you probably will anyway, but.
Yeah, but,
I just don't have the same conversation. It's like halfway through the project. Let's decide on the front end of the project whether we are or we aren't.
Right, and that's kind of,
And my only concern then is also, it's like, okay, you know, if the direction is going a different direction, then let's think about that, and it may impact on the roads we're doing. Roads might have to get to the Alexander or Lightning Drive condition before we do stuff.
And we already fight the weather up here.
yeah.
I mean, in most places of the country, the roads aren't as bad as they are in northern Minnesota as a whole. You know, because of our frost and, you know, our freeze and thaw cycles up here are brutal.
But because of the freeze and thaw cycles, we aren't able to spend the money that's needed to build the subgrade good enough to survive that either.
No, I get it. It's catch-22, where do you spend the money?
That's why we're, you know, doing the Stebner Road and the Uggstead Road for the third or fourth time.
Regardless of the Stebner Road assessment direction, the probably a different discussion down the road about timing of the project in relationship to the Blotnick Bridge.
Bridge.
You know, is it a do nothing because of it, and that'll lessen the load of the traffic on it because they'll get to Morris Thomas and hang a left or a right to go on a different road? Is there a temporary cover because it's 5 to 7 years of construction, or is it power through the project and have a rough start to the closing of the Blotnick Bridge, but the improved road? So there's definitely three tough challenges in it, but that's for a different discussion.
We were going to propose to do the work in '28, correct?
Right.
That's the current.
Because Lightning Drive is gonna be fall of this year and hopefully done by the end of '27.
If we were to wait till the bridge is done, when is the state projecting that's gonna be over?
7
7
years.
years.
7 years.
We'll be in really good shape.
I don't think you can wait.
Both
You have
Paul
to do
and,
something.
yeah, both Paul and David. David's thought was you press on and get it done. Paul's thought was, I think you could do a temporary cover for those 7 years and just, yes, it is kicking the can down the road, but for a very different reason because of the Blotnick Bridge. At the public hearing, we heard a mix of everybody. Folks from yes and charge me, make it nice, that's what we want, to let it be a nightmare so people don't choose it for the next 7 years. So it was a mix of everything.
What would a temporary cover be, a mill and overlay?
Maybe just a new skin,
Yeah.
not even a,
Just
yeah,
the overlay.
not a mill.
Thin-
Inch and a half.
In between, right at Anderson Road, North
Yeah.
Anderson Road, a
Yeah,
couple
you
years
did-
ago.
you laid right over the top of the, you
Yeah.
can see there on that corner, because that corner was dangerous. We used to
Right.
walk around there and people would avoid the potholes and creep over towards the sidewalk, and
Yeah, and I think, and I want to say that was in 2020 we did that.
it's so
And obviously, if we did that, there would be no assessments for
No,
that.
that's a different type of project. That's not even.
Do we know what that would cost?
There, we have not explored that to this point. 'Cause we're
I
still-
like that approach, actually.
How do you get a good road base? Just keep putting skins down.
raise your curbs in the sidewalk.
I mean, it does make some sense.
The roads are above your house.
It does make some
There was
sense.
20 inches of asphalt up there, and they had to replace
I
this.
owned a house in Duluth that was like that. They raised the street above the.
And again, I think that's unique because of the Blotnick. And the logic on the weight, and again, separate discussion, but the logic on the weight was traffic's gonna come up this way and make other choices. It can head to Levesque, it can head to Haynes, it can parse itself out on Stedman.
The people that know where they're going, it'll be interesting to see where the official detour is. Do we know where it obviously come across the Bong Bridge and then,
Depends where you live.
well, but I'm thinking, yeah, it depends, true, like I said, the people that know where they're going, I would, yeah, the people that live on that, but if you're
If you live off of Midway, you're just going to go on Midway.
Morris Thomas,
But here's another
We're still
question. Do
struggling to
we,
think why that
Gonna go to
traffic's
Brock.
gonna increase so much.
do we
in Stedman.
rebuild the road and then have the diverted traffic beating it up for 6 or 7 years?
well, they'll come right up to Bong Bridge, right up, you know,
Straight up.
if you're going up to the Iron Range from Wisconsin, you're gonna go to Bong Bridge and right up Stebner.
No, you're going to get on Highway 2.
Yeah.
You're gonna take 35 to 2
Yeah, I guess.
over to.
When we come
So if you're
from,
going to Pike Lake, you're gonna go across.
when we come from Wisconsin and visit my in-laws, we always go to Proctor.
Yeah, I guess.
I would imagine the detours will take you on those major new
Oh,
arteries.
yeah.
This is what I'm hearing, is we're staying the course on Lightning Drive, except for maybe there's only like 3 residential ones. And then looking at scheduling Stebner. There's other issues relative to us, other than assessments, on the scheduling of Stebner, but looking at Stebner doing with MSA. And then we just need to, if that's the case, then we need to just go back and look at what does that do to the MSA kind of flow of money, and what, if anything, that has on the budget.
Or, to me, we better decide what we're gonna do on Stebner. Is it the quick fix, or is it?
Yeah, it's,
I mean, that to me is the next decision of the next
right,
month.
that needs to happen fairly quickly. Okay, so, but beyond that, we don't really, I haven't really heard a
We don't
consensus
have
about.
a, we don't have a plan. What is the next road after Stebner on the docket, do we know?
Buxton Road.
We do, but I can't tell what off the top of my head. I do want to say it might very well be Uggstead, south of Morris Thomas.
Morris?
It's a
South of,
mile.
yeah, down towards Highway 2 there.
I struggle with that because the county maintains an access into Proctor half a mile down the road.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that Lindahl Road thing.
It's a city street to St. Louis River Road, and it's a county one after that.
Maybe we could swap the Lindahl Road for that little section. It's about the same. That's going to be an expensive one too, because of the,
It's been bad for a
A
long
lot of
time.
rock there.
And the road bed on the bottom is bad.
yeah, and there's a creek.
On top, you can deal with the rock, and on the bottom, you can deal with the wetland and poor soils.
It's gotta be Hermantown's highest hill.
It probably is. You go up there, you can see its location there.
Oh, yeah, you can.
The highest visible spot in Hermantown.
Yeah, that's,
The real highest spot is Highway 194 elevation.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about financial management plan. Do this first and then the concerns about budget. Okay, so the last time we talked about financial management plan, you said let's hold the levy at its current rate.
Hold the tax rate.
The tax rate the same. And I was going to ask you this before, but what projected growth are we talking? 5? Okay. And so if we assume a tax rate the same, but 5% growth in valuation, the base grows by 5%. And we've seen it closer to, what did you say, 10? No, we've averaged 5.
The last 15 years, we've averaged 5.
Yeah.
So we haven't had enough new construction and new business growth to increase the levy by more than 5%.
Yeah, and the 5% average includes the fact that a lot of houses got reassessed in the last 2 or 3 years when the county came through.
Yep.
it's not new construction, it's
A lot of that.
higher valuation.
Yes. So the good news is your house is worth more. The bad news is that it generates more taxes. You know, and there's that old joke about how your property gets viewed by the appraiser versus the county versus the buyer versus the seller, right? To maintain a zero tax rate increase over the next 10 years, we'd have to pretty much eliminate any road improvements. We'd do MSA roads only. We'd have to keep our capital improvement request at $500,000 per year level. We'd have no money for the city hall, identified $6.4 million in deferred maintenance. No new taxpayer supported debt for parks, trails, and stuff like that. If we had grant money or sales tax money, we could issue debt for. There wouldn't be any new staff and we eliminate the current budgeted contingency. So maintaining the tax rate as is for a 10-year period would, in my
It
view,
has
not-
consequences.
It has serious consequences and it would not be sustainable. And you do it over 10 years, you're gonna be in a bad spot.
Yeah.
We are shooting, or hoping, to try to keep next year's at that rate, but we've already got about a 0.5% increase because of the Hermantown Road assessment on there. And then you want to talk about some of those other budget pressures. You want to just walk through those?
Yeah, these are just general budget pressures. They don't have anything to do with any specific departments who might have some need/want increases. But I looked up today what our LGA will be next year on 2 different sources, and it looks like it's dropping $100,000. So we're going to lose $100,000 there. We have the ladder truck we need to make transfers to, pay for basically over the next however many years. That's $161,000 a year.
And remind me where that's transferred from?
That's to the general fund, to the sewer fund from the general fund. The sewer fund loaned the general fund some money. We used some of the money from the former volunteer fire department 501c3. We used that, and the balance, the sewer fund loaned the general fund. So that's $161,000 a year.
For how many years?
I think it's 15 years. Yeah, we did the same as the roads. At this point, we still have a Fickner deficit that was not addressed by the legislature, so that's $170,000 a year if we transfer that to the bonds for the Fickner until such time as maybe that's addressed by the legislature. And then there's just the normal COLA and steps payroll. That's $300,000 a year. We could have a increase in legal services, substantial next year, and regular inflation. So those don't relate to any particular department. But if you add up the numbers I gave you, that's $750-ish, $780,000 of pressure, without counting in specific requests from department heads. Did I encapsulate it?
Yeah. So it's going to be, we're going to have a budget work session. I think we've got it scheduled for September, but we're going to be, it's going to be hard work to keep the tax rate the same. We don't envision, I would have told you earlier this year that we'd see growth closer to 10 than 5, but when nobody came in on the Board of Equalization, they told me that people's property taxes or valuations didn't go up a lot. And so, or you weren't seeing the increases that you had seen in the past years.
Well, there's some sticker shock the year before.
Right. So, that was more just like heads up for a harder decision later on budgets. Any questions, comments on that?
Bake sales?
What's that?
Bake sales?
You better be picky about who's they're allowing to bake though. I don't want to eat my cookies. Probably increased liability actually. That's all we got tonight.
What does the state say when we ask for help? seeing as we get like essentially zero LGA, do they just tell us to pound sand? That's probably more of a question. for you.
One comment we got was, maybe you need to raise your own property taxes.
That was a statement.
From whom, seeing as there's people recording us?
The state.
But the
State
but
Tax Committee Chair.
The LGA is not simply just give us more and everybody. it's
No,
a
but
formula.
we get significantly less than everybody around us, minus the mining communities that have a different source of revenue.
Yeah, but
I mean,
the,
Proctor gets over $1 million a year in LGA.
but it's all a formula. And it's,
I understand that.
and the primary driver of that is age of the housing stock.
Yeah, but we have above average sales tax, my understanding, compared to other communities around us, and the state won't let us use it.
Right.
But they also don't help us on the LGA front. So is there a better way we can make that argument at the state level? Not to say that we're not doing that, but
No. So it's important to think that the state looks at those as two totally separate things. Right, LGA is this, and it's designed, like John had said, aging housing stock, aging infrastructure, just fundamentally places who's older than us as a city. Sales tax is a different monster for them to wrestle with because there are a handful of folks who are very positive about the good that sales tax can do in communities and want to leverage it aggressively. And certainly those are folks that we like, yay us. We've had a ton of success in it. Kind of a bit of a poster child in using it in fact. There are other legislatures who look at sales tax as an inequity creator, right? Because not every community has a Best Buy.
Has a
right?
Walmart, yeah.
It just doesn't work like that. And so some of those folks say, and this isn't entirely true, but it does get said publicly, that LGA is supposed to do those things. And that's probably a mistake on their part to say that, because LGA is, and what people have used sales tax to do oftentimes can be similar, but it's best to think of it as two
LGA is
there's revenue
different-
streams for the city.
different revenue streams that are being different for every city. You don't make your city older or younger.
Is there any strings attached to what LGA can be used for?
No, it is
No.
really just yours. It's like a boost to the
Right.
general levy. And we had some, then we had none for a long time, and then we had,
Then we got 300 grand and we thought we were rolling in it.
we felt,
I'll start at 200.
so it was,
I always say just give me 10% of what Duluth gets and we
And what did we
Wouldn't
get?
have property tax.
Is it
Well,
200-ish
they get
that we get
30
now?
About 330 now.
330, and you say it could go
230.
down to 230.
And again, that's just a formula based upon how much they're putting in the pot and how much it's giving up.
but I bet we talk sales tax again next year.
Well, I mean, it's the state needs to let us use sales tax or tax people out of their homes. We're already having that conversation here. We're already there. I don't know, there's nothing you guys can do about it, I get that.
We'll be
Old
down,
man
I'll be down
yelling
at the state
at
capitol.
clothes, yeah.
It's interesting because there are really groups who think it's really powerful when we talk about our budget. That's a perfect example. And then there's other groups who think it is the worst thing.
If we get our ask to allow the community recreation initiative sales tax to stay in place, how much does that change the picture for the budget moving forward?
161,000.
Was it 161? I thought 161 was for their ladder truck.
170.
No,
170.
Yep.
oh, 17, oh, yeah.
And that was just for Fickner.
Yep.
We haven't even talked about trails yet.
Well,
It would-
but with trails, we postpone it.
Yeah, we
We
don't
do it.
Our ask this year would have covered all. And so that's what we'll do again next year.
Need any motion?
We're just gonna adjourn at 5:40. Recess at 5:40.
Sure.
Okay,
Next week.
Harumph.
4:30 next week on Monday. The agenda. short week this week.
So the agenda will be out Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Yes,
Before Friday.
before.
Friday. Sometime either Wednesday or Thursday morning. Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning.
I gotta figure out, I said I wasn't gonna be home till 6:30, I gotta figure out where I'm going.
Beacon?
I did that.
It's right on the way.
That's up to you.
Yeah, I just gotta print it, sign it,
It's a cold one?
send it
Yeah.
back to,
Monday night, though.
and then see if, take a look.
I always get
I'll
busted
send it
when I
to you
go
too.
there, because they used to see something, oh, I saw John at the weekend.
What were you at the meeting? Don't go to the meeting.
Well,
It's just as bad as, just as bad as Skyline.
Yeah, it's probably worse.
I'll have to go to Pike Lake, leave the city limits.
Yeah, it's still bad.